Welcome to Filthy Casuals Review, a game where two bumbling magic morons try to match wits with the best brains Limited has to offer, and Marshall Sutcliffe. Just kidding, love you, Marshall. Here's how it works. When a new Magic set comes out, pro player Luis Scott-Vargas and self-proclaimed food and beverage director Marshall Sutcliffe grade all of the commons and uncommons from the set on their excellent podcast, Limited Resources. Kenny and Seth have each done a blind review of the cards on their own. The goal? Get as close as possible to the grades the pros gave them. I'll let LSV explain the grading system.
Ace.
These are your bombs, your game winners, just the best cards in the set. They tend to be really efficient, good in many situations, or just capable of ending a game by themselves.
B's.
B's are cards that actively pull you towards their colors. These are headliners for a set, go-to cards, and reasons to be in a particular color, clan, or guild.
C's.
C's are playable. Most cards fall into this category. They're fairly interchangeable, and you're going to end up with a bunch in your deck. C's don't mean bad. C's are just kind of your average card.
D's.
D's are sometimes playable, but you'd prefer not to run them. These are the cards that, when you've got these in your deck, you kind of wince a little. You're actively unhappy that you have to play them.
F's.
And then F's are basically unplayable.
Seth and Kenny will get points based on how far off they are from the professional grades. It's a lot like golf. There's a lot of cursing and the low score wins. To spice it up, the loser of our little game will have to buy a booster box of the new set for the winner. Stick around till the end of the show to see who won. But for now, let's talk about some of the truly awful decisions Kenny and Seth made, and maybe even some of the valuable lessons learned, as Filthy Casuals review...
March of the Machine.
Welcome back to Filthy Casuals Review. It's me, Kenny, and Seth, back at it again with the Magic the Gathering.
Another review.
And we had so much fun with the last set.
Boy, did we.
We thought we'd do it again. Why not?
I am a glutton for punishment.
Should we do, we had a whole episode where we talked about our feelings about the last set, so probably don't need to do our overall feelings about how we felt about.
Yeah, that's fair.
Phyrexia All Will Be One was not that fun for us.
No.
So instead, let's just jump right into how do you feel going into this new set? You've looked at the cards.
Yeah.
There's sort of like magic in the air, springtime renewal.
Yeah.
Do you feel optimistic, pessimistic?
It's hard not to feel a little pessimism after a few sets of... Because what we had before All Be One, we had...
Brothers War,
which Brothers War was okay. That wasn't too bad. Streets of New Capenna, that was a rough one. And then we had another one I thought was...
Dominaria
United. Yeah. So, I mean...
It's been a while since I've had a set that I felt like, wow.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for that next Kamigawa.
What a banger.
Yeah. But,
in the meantime, you did play some Innistrad Remastered.
I did, actually. That was a lot of fun. Okay. It was refreshing. I didn't record anything because I honestly had no faith in myself to do well in it, but found a little success.
That's fair.
But, it's just nice. It was just kind of a throwback, just older cards, less text on the cards that you have to watch out for, this was just a little refreshing, so it was nice. But
well, if you're not a fan of text, then this new set is it's going to be tricky. I mean, all the new sets, there's all these statistics about the amount of text that you see on cards, but this set in particular introduces a new card type in battles, and they're double-sided cards. There are other double-sided cards all over the place that common and uncommon and rare and mythic rare, so there's a lot of text on a lot of cards. Yeah. Which, I'm not saying is inherently bad.
Sure.
And I think battles are interesting.
Yep.
You and I were chatting about them before the set came out, and it's like, it feels like kind of maybe a more fun version of Planeswalkers in the sense that you put something that you have to take down and you have to kind of work for, and then you succeed at it, and then you get this benefit. Also feels like quests a little bit,
yeah.
From Zendikar. Yeah. So I don't know. I think it's neat. I'm curious how they're actually going to play out, though.
Yeah, I'm curious as well. I keep going back and forth on on battle cards because initially it's like you're casting a sorcery or maybe like a saga or something like that, and you end up giving a planeswalker that doesn't really do anything until you can attack it. So, and if you're attacking a battle, you're not attacking your opponent. So I wonder, like, that gets tricky, right?
Yes.
I guess all that to say, the battle really needs to pay off if you're going to go after that. So, with how battles are set up, it's going to be interesting to see how much of a splash. Because I remember reading where Mark Rosewater said this was the most ambitious card or type, that they've come out with in years. I can't remember. I think he said 10 plus years. So it's like, oh, whoa, dang, okay. So I was excited to see it for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I assume he's talking about like it is a new card type, the first one we've gotten since Planeswalkers. Sagas are cool and different, and they've made a big splash, and they're now like a permanent part of the game, which is cool. But ultimately, they are just enchantments.
They are, yeah.
I mean, you could template them just as regular enchantments. Like, they're really neat. They do cool things, but this is a fundamentally different kind of card. So, all right, well, let's not muck around.
Okay.
Let's get into some review action here. I have, in the gold uncommon section, I'm going to talk about Invasion of Amonkhet first.
Okay.
Okay. A little sideways card action here.
Yeah.
Invasion of Amonkhet is 1 blue-black for a battle siege. They're all battle sieges. So the way these work, as they enter the battlefield, you choose an opponent to protect it. So, in one-on-one, obviously, you're just going to give it to your opponent.
Sure.
You can attack it, and your opponent can defend it just like they would defend their life total or a planeswalker or whatever. So it has a... What is the type of counter? I forget. It's like a defense counters, I think it gets when it comes into play. So at the bottom right, there's a number that gives its defense counters, just like loyalty counters for a planeswalker. So this comes in with 4. When Invasion of Amonkhet enters the battlefield, each player mills 3 cards, then each opponent discards a card, and you draw a card. So then you can attack this just like a player. Once you take it down to 0 from 4, it transforms into Lazotep Convert. It is a 4/4 creature zombie. You have it enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature card in a graveyard, except it's a 4/4 black zombie in addition to its other types. So, I think in general, these battles are good. The just in general,
yeah, sure.
I think most of the battles are quite good. This one mills them, they discard a card and you draw a card, so you end up actually netting card advantage from this.
Yeah.
There's some mill strategies going on as well, and turning into a 4/4 clone of anything in the graveyard is quite strong. Even if it's just a 4/4 with no other things going on, still pretty good. And obviously it can do a lot more interesting stuff.
Absolutely.
So you and I both like this card. You gave it a B, I gave it a B+.
Okay.
They gave it a C.
Okay. So we're a little high on it, huh?
Yeah, I think they might be right. I can't tell. Because in the last few sets, as we talked about in our Extra Turns episode, the last few sets have been pretty aggressive, pretty assertive.
Yeah.
And their problem with this one is you pay this 3 mana and you don't do anything to the board.
Sure.
So if this set is like the last few sets and you need to be on board, like imagine trying to do this in Phyrexia All Will Be One. Though it just came from turn 3, you're not affecting the board. You're hoping to like attack this thing instead of your opponent and then eventually get this 4/4. It's just delaying anything for too long and not affecting the board in the meantime. So I could believe this is just a run-of-the-mill C.
Yeah, I can go for that as well. Whenever I was doing the review, I literally skipped every battle card and had to come back to them because I was so on the fence about how good are these.
Right.
It's and I just came back so conflicted with these. So if somebody said these are the greatest thing since the invention of Planeswalkers, I could believe it. I could be swayed for that. Or if they said this is the worst card ever, and I'm surprised it actually made it through testing, I could probably be swayed that way too. I truly did not know with these battle cards. And I don't know, did you have a kind of a systemic approach to these battle cards? Did you have anything that you did with them?
Not really. I've had in the past with different cards, I've had like a system of like, I'm thinking of like, in Zendikar Rising, the double-faced modal cards, where it's a land on one side and then like a marginal spell on the other. I was like, I would look at what I would give the spell, and then I bump up because it can also be a land.
Sure.
Didn't really have that approach here. It was more just like like you say, you have to work for them, but the rewards almost always seem worth it. And it's like a brand new card type, and it's pushed everywhere.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, in my heart, I have to believe they really wanted these to land.
That's exactly how I thought.
So I gave them good grades pretty much across the board.
I gave them the benefit of the doubt as well. I think I graded, or I put more weight into the front part of the card.
I think that's the smart thing to do.
If it made more of an impact initially, which personally I believe this one still makes an impact, and I'm surprised I didn't put that as build around. I probably should have in retrospect, but I do think this, like you said, it nets you a card, it gets you a little bit of advantage there, so that's always worth something.
And then gets you a juicy payoff later.
It does, yeah, and I think that's just icing on the cake there at that point. So,
I do get where... Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, between that and what you had said about it being quote-unquote pushed and all that stuff, you got to believe there's something there, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
The thing they said about the ones that they really liked, and I agree, is that the best ones of these, the front side helps you flip it to the back side.
Yeah,
so it
that
lets
makes
you
sense.
a body, or it bounces a creature on their side. It does something that helps you to push through damage that will then flip it over. I think the red-blue one puts a 1/1 flyer into play for you, which helps you tick down the battle so that you can flip it to the other side.
Sure.
This does, obviously, it doesn't do anything to the board, so it just doesn't help you.
Yeah, and that's very fair. I can see that.
It seemed like that was their version of... In a Planeswalker, you look for their ability to defend itself.
Yeah.
For a
Very good
battle,
point.
you're looking for some ability that will help you flip it to its other side, which is generally the more powerful side.
That is a good way of looking at it.
Okay. I've got another one here, and then if you've got any in uncommon, we can talk about those. Okay. Invasion of Kylem. Alright, this is the red-white invasion. 2 red-white for a battle. It has 5 defense. When Invasion of Kylem enters the battlefield, up to 2 target creatures each get +2/+0 and gain Vigilance and Haste until end of turn. The Haste doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's 4 mana
not
at
so
sorcery
on that.
speed. But anyway, when you flip it, it becomes Valor's Reach Tag Team, a sorcery. So it's a one and done. What it does is, it makes 2 3/2 red and white warrior creature tokens with, whenever this creature and at least one other creature token attack, put a +1/+1 counter on this creature. So you make 2 3/2s that can attack instantly, and they become permanently 4/3s, and then they grow each time that you're able to attack with them. So on this, I gave it a B+, you gave it a B-. They actually gave this a D or F.
Oh, that's interesting.
I think they gave it a D. I don't think they said this is like F, terrible card. But I think they just really, again, they didn't like the front side of this card. 4 mana to give a couple of creatures +2/+0 and Vigilance. They saw as not that impactful.
Okay.
I believe what they said is it's a win more card. Yes. They're like, it's bad from behind. So if you're behind and you play this card, it doesn't do anything. If you're low on creatures, it's not going to help you.
Yeah.
It doesn't help flip itself, generally speaking. If you're already in a winning position, it does. Like if you have more creatures than your opponent, you play this, a couple of your creatures get +2/+0, you push through the damage, you flip it over, boom, boom, boom. But if this were just a 4 mana 4/4 in that same situation, it would also do the same thing.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's their problem with the card. And so, again, I can see it once I think about how it actually works in the situation that it would appear.
Yeah. Okay. And that's fair. Again, it's when I initially grade cards, I always start uncommons at a B-. And if I'm just unsure and don't know where to go,
you just leave it.
I leave it. Yeah. So, I'm not surprised by this one. It does not shock me in the slightest as far as that not working out. And flipping into a sorcery like that kind of makes that tough too. I'm kind of curious. I haven't looked at the grades and the comparisons, all that stuff. I wonder if flipping into something that's not something that stays on the battlefield per se, which is. This was kind of weird because it ends up creating tokens, so there is that sense of permanence in there.
Yeah.
I just kind of wonder if sorceries are instants That wouldn't be an instant in that case. If sorceries would be seen as less overall. I'm kind of curious. Again, we're so new to battles, we don't really know.
I don't know.
Makes a good battle card.
I think this is the only one that flips into a sorcery.
I think so, too.
But as you say, it's like, it flips into a sorcery, but it makes creatures, so...
Yeah, so it's a little different.
It's a creature spell, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Alright, that's all I've got for gold.
Okay, yeah, I didn't really have anything per se on this one.
Okay.
As far as...
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Let's move on to white.
On to white. Do you want to lead us off here?
Sure. Let's start off with Surge of Salvation.
Alright.
So, Surge of Salvation is white. It's an instant, uncommon. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until end of turn. Prevent all damage that black or red sources would deal to creatures you control this turn. So, it's effectively a white counter, right? So, and you get the benefit of black and red, sources, all that stuff. So this is sideboardish material for me personally, all that. I kind of rated it as such. Like I said, I typically started a B- for uncommons. I actually took mine a notch down. I gave this a C+. You gave this a C+ as well and actually said sideboard. I should have said the same. Whatever. LR Boys actually said sideboard B on this one here, so they actually really like this one here. So, not having listened to the podcast, what did they say about this and what did they like so well about it?
I mean, so if you are playing against black and red, the extra text of prevent all damage that black and or red sources would deal to you, to creatures you control this turn, it does let you utterly blow out a combat.
Oh, sure.
If you play against black or red, or, God forbid, both at the same time, then this card is absolutely insane.
Oh, of course.
In general, I think I tagged this one to talk about just because there's a cycle of cards in the set, one for each color, that hoses enemy colors.
Right.
And I had a really hard time assigning a grade, because this card is kind of like, if you just get rid of the color part and just you and permanents you control gain hexproof for 1 white, it's like a very whatever card.
Right.
It's like a way to dodge. You go 1 for 1 with a removal spell by holding up some mana. Has its applications, but is really not that interesting.
Right.
And then the upside of going against black and or red is insanely powerful.
Of course, yeah.
So, I mean, it's obviously good in the sideboard, or if you're playing best of one, you probably can't run this card.
Yeah.
So,
tough.
What grade do you actually give it? I don't know. So, C+ for me was like just kind of a hedge my bets.
A nice blanket, yeah.
Yeah, I think, it has some applications. Obviously, it's good here, it's not good here. I don't know. I just gave it a C+.
I totally get it. And I don't know about you, but my kind of limited choice is best of one. I typically don't do sealed or best of 3 in any format or so.
Same.
So this really, for me personally, I'm not really playing this card unless I absolutely have to. This is very much filler, and it is sideboard material. That's not to knock this card by any stretch of the imagination. It definitely has its place, but not in a best of one. Yeah. I mean,
it's funny because there are some of these color hosers that you can play in best of one and not be embarrassed about.
Right.
And this one, it's like
this doesn't quite cut the mustard.
No, I don't think so.
No, I agree.
All right. Next up for me, Norn's Inquisitor. So this is 1 and a white for a creature, Phyrexian Knight. When Norn's Inquisitor enters the battlefield, incubate 2. So incubate with a number means you make an incubator token. So it's an artifact with that number of +1/+1 counters on it. It's not a creature, but it has 1/1 counters on it. And then you can pay 2 to transform it into a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact creature. So incubate 2 means it's a creature you pay 2 and it turns into a 2/2 creature.
Sure.
But Norn's Inquisitor also has whenever a permanent you control transforms into a Phyrexian, so when you flip an incubator, put a +1/+1 counter on it. So this is 2 mana for a 1/1 that makes a 2/2, but you have to pay 2 to flip it up, but it's actually a 3/3, and it also enhances your other incubator tokens that you flip up. So it's a lot going on. My only real comment here is that I had early on in my review, I had a misunderstanding of how these cards worked, because there's a bunch of these cards that give you some bonuses when you flip Phyrexians.
Right.
You flip these incubators. I don't know why. There's no good reason for me to have this misunderstanding, but I was thinking this card transformed into the Phyrexian. So it's like, when you do that, you're losing the bonus that it gives your other Phyrexians.
I see.
I was like, you're choosing between, do I want to keep giving bonuses to my other Phyrexians I'm flipping over, or do I want to flip this guy over and get a quicker bonus? He just gives you everything. He's a 2-mana 1/1 that can make a 3/3 and also enhance all your other flipping Phyrexians. So I gave it a C, they gave it a B, you gave it a B-.
Yeah.
So this is like a bad grade just off of misreading the card, basically.
Yeah.
I think this seems powerful to me.
You know, like, kind of going back to what you had mentioned is these sets have been getting so fast. And I've been giving more credit to the 2-drops than I typically do. Because I love seeing a 4-mana that just, like, does it all. It's great and everything else like that. But the problem that I run into is that I never get there. Like, the game's usually decided by then.
They've played their 1-drop, 2-drop, 3-drop, and you've stumbled once on land. Your 4-drop comes down in turn 5, and you're already getting run over.
Yeah, there's just no way you can actually get around that, unless that is a card that can truly turn it around. But that's probably not at the common or level, right? So, I've been putting a lot more stock into these. Typically, like the grizzly bears that kind of do something else. You know, like this isn't technically a grizzly bear by any means, but it's a 2-mana 1/1. But it definitely helps push your board, especially if you are in a Phyrexian / incubate deck. So I definitely think this has a place, and I think it'll be a nice, quick deck whenever this is getting built. So I'll be curious to see how this one plays out. But I definitely think this one has its place.
Yeah, I think it's a good card.
Yeah.
Now that I understand what the hell it does.
Yeah, I get that.
Right. Next up is Invasion of Bellanon. Your favorite plane to revisit.
Yeah.
You want to read this one out?
Sure, absolutely. So this is 2 and white. It's an uncommon. 5 battle points. Is that how they?
I don't know. Okay. It doesn't even say. I think it's defense point.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So I'll call it battle points. I think it sounds pretty cool. 5 battle points. When Invasion of Bellanon enters the battlefield, create a 2/2 white and blue knight creature token with vigilance. When you attack it and it flips and transforms, it turns into Bellanon War Anthem, which is an enchantment. And it's essentially a glorious anthem. It's creatures you control get +1/+1. You know, again, this is uncommon. I started to B-. I kind of knocked this one down just a little bit because like +1/+1 doesn't move the needle too terribly much, in my opinion. And again, I've noticed that over these past few sets, the board just gets clogged so much, and it's kind of a what do they call it, like a battle of
attrition.
Thank you. And I don't know, +1/+1 doesn't do as much for me as it would as like flying or menace or something, lifelink or something to really kind of tilt the board in your favor. So I gave this one a C+ instead of my typical B-. You gave it a C, so you were even a little lower on this one.
I was, yeah.
As well. The LR boys gave this one a B.
Yeah. Now, looking at it, do you think they're right, or do you stand by what you said?
I still stand by what I said.
I think it's tricky.
Yeah.
I feel like I gave it that because a 3-mana 2/2, I mean, sure it has vigilance, but a 3-mana 2/2 is you're still behind at the end of the day.
No.
You've played a 3-mana... Like, you would not play a 3-mana 2/2 Vigilance.
No.
That's not a good card.
No.
So, you really need to do extra work to flip this over.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, a Glorious Anthem is very strong.
It's true.
And in fact, what you said about, like, oftentimes these games get clogged and it turns into a war of attrition. Giving your whole squad +1/+1 is a way to break that war of attrition.
No, it's true.
So I think, Glorious Anthem is still one of the best limited cards there is.
That's fair.
So you have to work for this one, but it
You
also
definitely
comes with
have
its
to
own
work for it.
creature.
Mm-hmm.
And when you flip it, now you have a 3/3 vigilance. I mean,
Yeah.
there's the upside is here. I
It
think
is. I do recognize that.
it strikes me as too much work, I think.
5 battle points is a lot.
It is, and this one doesn't help you that much.
No.
It does give you a creature,
Yeah.
but the creature's understated, doesn't have any
Yeah.
way to get through on its own. So I don't know.
I'm surprised the LR Boys didn't have this in a kind of a build around, because Blue-White Knights, definitely a thing in this set.
Yeah, it is.
And actually seems pretty cool. I actually used to run with a Knight deck. It was a White Weenie Knight deck whenever we were playing more competitive back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Love that deck. So I have an affinity towards this, and we'll be playing it for sure. But I don't know. I'm willing to be convinced either way with this one. I still personally am going to side with it's a little too slow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't attack your opponent, how are you going to attack one of these battles?
Yeah.
Because they're still able to defend it too. So I don't know. It's tough. There's so many ways you can think about these that it's just so tricky. So
I think you might be right that in the Knight deck that could be a really sick card because it's going to synergize anyway and helps you push through damage.
exactly.
Now, this next one, I feel confident in the grade that I gave it.
Okay.
So this is Invasion of Dominaria, the other uncommon white siege. 2 and a white for a battle, 5 battle defense points. When it enters the battlefield, you gain 4 life and draw a card. So 3 mana, gain 4, draw a card. Once you take it down, it becomes Seraph Faithkeeper, and it's a Serra Angel.
Yeah,
4/4 Flying Vigilance. Which, of course, that's a great payoff.
Of course, yeah. Everybody loves a Sarah Angel.
Who doesn't like a Serra Angel?
Yeah.
I don't. I gave it a C minus. You gave it a C plus. They gave it a B minus. So you were very close, ultimately.
Sure.
But we both agree it's like a C category, and they say it's a B. My issue is their whole thing that they said earlier with the blue-black Invasion of Amonkhet.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect the board when you play it,
Yeah.
and that was their whole problem with it. This has exactly the same problem. It's 3 mana. I mean, you gain 4 life, so it does buy you some time.
Yeah, delays you.
It replaces itself with the card, but so did Invasion of Amonkhet.
Sure.
So it's like exactly the same thing to me.
Yeah.
And well, I guess now I can see if am I consistent. So I gave this a C minus, and I gave Invasion of Amonkhet a B plus.
Uh-oh.
So my own inconsistency is revealed
No, that's
here.
fair.
But I think in general, these are pretty comparable cards. 3 mana
that's
for
fair.
a battle that draws you a card and doesn't help you advance your board state, and it doesn't help take down the
Right.
battle itself.
Yeah.
But it turns into a pretty cool creature once
does.
you're able to do it.
It does.
So, I don't know. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle between these two cards. The one thing I'll say in favor of Invasion of Dominaria over Invasion of Amonkhet is that this is one color and one color pip. So you're less committed to anything by taking this. So I could buy that this is actually better just because it's easier to cast. It doesn't, in the draft, it doesn't commit to as many things.
Right.
So
Right.
I could believe this.
Yeah, I can see that too.
All right, you got anything else you want to talk about in white?
Let's see here. How about Alabaster Host and Intercessor? That's a mouthful. So this one here, so I always get tripped up with these. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, I'll read this one out here. So 5 and a white. It's a creature. It's a Phyrexian Samurai. It's common. It's a 3/4. When this enters the battlefield, exile target creature and opponent controls until Alabaster Host Intercessor leaves the battlefield. It also has plane cycling 2. So what that means is you pay 2, you discard this card here from your hand, search your library for a planes card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle.
So you can pay 2 to exchange this for the planes in your library.
Yeah, so now you have an early game kind of thing, and then you have a late game kind of thing here as well. So I didn't really value that all that much because for me, like, I see the 6 cost, and I really didn't take into account the planes cycling there as well. Plane cycling is pretty good, especially as – you know, my feelings towards the shuffler
I do.
on Magic Arena here.
I do.
I do.
I do.
I'm more on the flooded route, so that I didn't
That's
really...
less interesting to you.
Yeah, but maybe this will convince me to play less lands if I'm getting a bunch of cycling cards. I don't know. I'll probably just get pissed either way, because I have to play this card. But I gave this one a C-. You gave this a C+. The LR boys gave this one a B. So they're really high on this one.
They love it.
I have a feeling it's probably because of the cycling bit as well, just because it has that
for sure
kind of dual modality to it.
For sure.
Makes sense. And that's going to be a common theme because I didn't respect the cycling cards.
So there's a cycle of these.
Yeah.
One for each color that has that color's cycling. And I love all of these cards.
Yeah.
I think this was the lowest I graded them.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which even I should have graded it higher, but I was in love with these cards. I could not believe these were commons.
Yeah, no, it's true.
These are wild to me. Because, a 6 mana big, what was the name of the card back in the day? It was from Innistrad, I think. It costs 3 mana. It's like a 3 mana Oblivion Ring on a stick.
Fiend Hunter?
Fiend Hunter.
Fiend Hunter?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like a big Fiend Hunter. It's already, is good. Like,
it is.
You play it on turn 6, kill their best thing, and you've got a 3/4 chunker on the battlefield. And then also, as you say, early on, it's my second turn.
At it again.
Yeah. Plane cycling. Boom. Here we go. So,
no, it's true. Yeah, it's very true. And, 3/4 that's a big booty, too. Yeah. And that will probably live through a lot of them. I did not look up to see what the average
power toughness
was. But I still, in these past few sets, 4 toughness is kind of that magic number. Yeah. You can kind of get in there. It's probably going to be a little bit safer.
Yeah, I think so.
So, that's on me. These cycling cards I want to be consistently low on. But, hey, what can you do?
Thank goodness. I need some help. Okay, let's get into blue.
All right, let's do it.
Zalfirin Shapecraft. There's that piece of shit. Okay, so this is 1 in a blue. For an instant, target creature has base power and toughness 4/3 until end of turn. Okay. Draw a card. The magic words, draw a card.
Yeah, replaces itself. Okay.
So I gave it a B. Very strong on this.
Sure, yeah.
You gave it a full grade lower at a C.
I did.
And then LR gave it a full grade lower than that at a D or an F. So this kind of card has been printed.
It has.
Often
immediately reminded me of the Strixhaven, was it like Square Up or something like that?
So in Kamigawa, Suit Up.
Suit Up, yeah.
Was the
reminds
card.
me of that one too, yeah.
That's what I took note of. Which was the best blue common in
it was really
something
good.
like that.
Yeah, sure.
And it was just a super, super strong card. It was like Doomblade with draw a card on it in that set.
It replaces itself too. That's great.
So, I mean, this card it gives base power toughness 4/3. So the creature is less likely to survive when you do this. However, here's my argument for why I think this card is actually good.
Okay.
When you use this on an incubate creature, its base power toughness are 4/3.
Yeah,
but you still get the counters.
Yeah.
So if you have a 2/2 incubate creature and you make it 4/3, it's actually 6/4. Draw
6/5.
6/5 draw a card. And that's fantastic. Love that.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just straight up Suit Up. But even outside of that, this will generally trade with whatever you're blocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
It helps you push through damage against battles. Like your 1/1 gets through against a battle, they think they're fine. Zalfirin Shapecraft, kill the battle, draw a card, flip the battle, boom.
Yeah.
So I think there's lots of cool applications. I think this card is actually gonna overperform.
Sure. Yeah, I do think this will be your
my victory card.
Your victory card, yeah.
We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I mean,
I like it.
These cards are interesting. So far, they're kind of a newer card that we get a version of in every set. And sometimes they're incredible, and sometimes they're not played at all. Yeah. So it's hard to say which one this is going to be. I think there's enough different things going on that this will be good enough.
I would agree with that. There's enough counters that are in this set to where I think that will make a difference there on that one. I do want to talk about one, the Invasion of Vryn.
Invasion of Ren.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's another battle card. I feel like we're on just kind of touch on all these here.
I mean, they're a weird, unique, new card, so it makes sense that we have a lot to say about them.
Yeah. So this one here is 3 and a blue. It's uncommon. Battle, Siege. And then, as I understand it, just kind of as an aside here, the battle part will be the same, but the Siege potentially could be different here in future sets, depending on how how it's adapted.
It seems like it. Like how you reduce a battle to flip it to its other side might change.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll be interested to see what that looks like here in the future. So 4 battle points. 4 BP. When Invasion of Ren enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, then discard a card. So you net 1 card again on this one here. And I actually am just now thinking of this. Did you see much graveyard incursion here in the set?
Yeah, there is a lot of
there is. Okay.
Action.
Honestly, I really didn't even think about that part until there. So, you know, and that's another reason kind of why, the other one was not too bad either. Anyways, tangent aside there. This, once you knock this down, it turns into Overloaded Mage Ring, which the artwork, I think, is...
You're gonna blow out a mage ring.
Yeah, it's weird, but like it's cool and all. Like,
I like it.
Yeah, Leon Tucker there. That's pretty sweet. But anyways, it's turns to an artifact. Pay 1, tap, sacrifice this card here. Copy target spell you control. So very simple.
Yep.
I don't mind this one. I don't know the applications of this one, and generally, I wouldn't consider myself a smart person, but I'm bright. I'm a bright person. Like I know enough to get around, and I can Google the rest of it.
Sure.
I know that I don't know my blue all that well.
I see.
And this has enough openness and potential to be good. So again,
enough things going on that you're like, there must be something you can do.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be that one thing where it's like, oh yeah, we really need this one here for whatever reason. So I'm filing that for later on the set review.
Okay.
Bit. So here's hoping on that one. Again, this one's an uncommon. I graded this as a B-. I left it alone. You also graded this as a B- as well. Did you? You probably have more than I'm a bright guy and know the blue can.
Not really, to be honest. I mean, this seems like all of the battles that we want to talk about, because there's lots of battles that we haven't talked about and that we won't talk about because they're just obviously good.
Right. And
it seems like the ones that we disagree with when it comes to LR, we are overrating compared to them, because there's another one, it's just card advantage, and it's not affecting the board on the front side.
Sure.
And I think they were down as well on the back side, because just historically, the ability to copy a spell, they just have never really been that into in Limited.
That's
twin
fair.
casts and like the red spells that like you copy your next thing. It's like, this is like a setup, because you have to beat the battle first. And then your payoff, you also have to set up another thing. So it's just kind of asking too much of you. Whereas some of the battles are just like, here's an awesome effect on the front side that helps you flip it into its other side, which is also just awesome. Yeah. And you don't even have to really work at or think about. So I think you're right. I think that there's probably going to be a deck where this is good. There's probably cool things you can do with it. But it's, on the whole, it does feel good on the whole. Just looking at these rings right now. No, I think it's an interesting card. I don't think it's as good as we're rating it. Yeah,
that's fair. And then, to finish it off, the LR boys rated this as a C.
Right.
Which I do think that is more
That seems correct.
Yep.
That seems correct.
Agreed.
Next one. Speaking of drawing cards, Meeting of the Minds. Ah, man, I stand by this one.
Really?
Yeah. So, this is 3 and a blue for an instant. Draw 2 cards. That sucks. Who wants that? But it has Convoke.
Yeah.
Convoke means you can tap creatures to help pay for the spell.
Sure.
They reduce its cost by a generic mana or a mana of that creature's color. So, I gave it a D or F.
Okay.
They gave it a C. You gave it a C. Was this just your basic strategy of like, it's a common, so I give it a C and I'm not going to touch it? Or are you like...
So, uncommons are B minus. Commons I started a C minus. So I bumped this up. I actually did.
So this is, this set's version of divination. It's, a spell that you cast and it draws you 2 cards.
Yep.
Real simple. Which most of the time divinations are not great.
Yeah, fair.
They're fine. You can always play them, but they oftentimes just don't make the cut. They're not worth playing. I get that this can be a free spell or a 1 mana draw 2 or whatever. But, I mean, A, how often is that going to happen? B, how different is that than just 3 mana draw 2? This just seems like, for the most part, it just is another divination.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just going to say, there was, I think in the last set, the divination variant was really good, actually, because that was the one that involved being corrupted. If your opponent was corrupted, it cost just a single blue. And that wound up being actually pretty darn good. So this could be in the same camp, in the right deck with a bunch of little creatures that, eventually aren't worth it. You get in your damage and then it's like, I can't attack with them. Oh, I drew Meeting of the Minds. Free, draw 2 cards. So I can see the potential there, but I don't know. If I had to make a bet, I would say this card's going to be a whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think it's going to make a splash.
That is fair. And, just kind of going back to what I mentioned about just like the board state just being kind of a slog and just really gummed up there. At the end of turn, or even like in blocking phase or attacking phase, not attacking phase, but like blocking phase, if you're just like chumping a couple creatures, just tap them real quick and you convoke, and now you got a pretty cheap draw 2. So, I think it does enough in a set where I think there are going to be a lot of creatures in here. Yeah, it's a stalled board state. I think this might make a deck. It's definitely not something you're picking, ahead of a lot of these cards by any stretch of the imagination. So, it's filler. It's C. That's what I went with.
Fair enough. Did you have any other things you want to talk about in blue?
I did not.
All right.
No.
Well, on we go to black then.
All right, let's do it.
Let me show you my glistening deluge.
I'm a little off here.
Wow. I don't even remember what the fuck is this? Why did I want to talk about it?
I need to talk about this one too.
I guess so, yeah. Okay, so this is... Oh, right. So this is the color hoser for black of that cycle I was mentioning previously. 1 black for a sorcery. All creatures get -1/-1 until end of turn. Creatures that are green and or white get an additional -2/-2 until end of turn. So once again, I just took the same note. I found this whole cycle very difficult to grade because it's like, if you're not against green or white, this card blows.
Yeah.
You can't play a 3 mana, all creatures get -1/-1. That's no good.
No.
But if you're playing against a green or white deck, and you pay 3 mana to give them all -3/-3 to your opponent's creatures, that's insane.
That's sure. That's the dream,
the
right?
best card you could possibly play. So, what grade do you give it?
Yeah.
And so I kind of took the coward's way out here, and I took the average, and I was like, well, A+, amazing card, or unplayable.
Right.
And so I gave it a sideboard B-. They gave it a sideboard A.
Dude. I went the opposite direction. Yeah. I gave it the old D or F.
So you gave it the grade of, like, on average, what, in a random deck, you wouldn't play this card.
Yeah, the best of 1, I'm not playing this.
You wouldn't play this randomly.
Another thing, too, is, it costs 3, but it's also 2 black pips, which that's intensive.
It is,
and, respect to you if you do it, so that's...
I mean, this is just not really doable in best of 1.
Yeah, and we've kind of seen that black has just never really... I can't say never, but recently, black really hasn't been all that strong. It starts off strong, like 1 and Corrupted was... God, what was that? Anoint with Affliction. God, that card was everywhere until about halfway through, and everybody's like, let's just... run up the numbers and just have like such a wide board state that card just doesn't matter and stuff like that. Now, this will hose the go wide strategy if you have a bunch of, in general, one toughness creatures. Now, if you have green or white, the -2/-2 is definitely worth something. But I don't know. That's a tough card to play. And I realize this is not something you play on turn 3. I do recognize that.
Correct. Generally, you could be getting run over and you could play it. It could be really good. But
yeah, of course. But it's very tough. And I did look up just for the fun of it, like how many 1 toughness creatures there are in this set. And there's 28 out of like 200 plus cards, so about 10% or so, something like that. So I mean, it's not nothing. But,
it's not. And it's not taking into account, too, there are lots of things that make 1 power or 1 toughness and tokens.
Yep. No, that's true. So I see it. I definitely do. But
it's just for the sideboard potential. Yeah. Like, if you're playing best of 1, basically don't touch this card. If you're playing best of 3, pick this up because it's going to absolutely dunk on some opponents.
No, it's true.
All right, next card here. Deadly Derision. Right. So this is kind of the bread and butter black removal spell in the set. 2 black. Instant. Destroy target creature or planeswalker. Make a treasure token. You gave it a C+. I gave it a C. They gave it a B. Very simple, straightforward card. I just think this is just kind of average. I mean, I think a card like Murder, 3 mana, kill any creature, is quite good. Doomblade is great, like A level efficiency.
Right.
And this is like just a step behind those.
Yeah.
So it's like 4 mana to kill a creature. Oftentimes you're going to be going even on mana, or even, behind on mana. It's just it's an okay card. I put this in my deck. I don't really think that at this stage in Magic, in limited Magic, that 4 mana kill a creature is that good.
Yeah.
They're just better options, generally.
So there's 2 cards I'm thinking of. We've had Vraska's Contempt. That was 2 mana, 2 black, instant, kill creature, and I think Planeswalker as well. And then there's another card that was a creature that actually killed.
That was the Chupacabra.
Yeah, so this is, so this was an Exelon. This was a rare. So,
kill a creature, gain 2 life.
Okay.
This is kill a creature or planeswalker, make a treasure token.
Okay.
And I get, a treasure token's not nothing. I like treasure tokens.
Yeah.
But, I just think in general, 4 mana to kill a creature is fine. It's not great.
It's fine.
It's just fine on rate, which is why it's in the C's for me.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think it's a solid B, because a B says to me, go for this color. And this, I would not take in the first few picks. I would hope not to take in the first few picks.
I'm just not high on black. It's like that, just as we'll just back up here just a little bit. I wasn't all that high on black. Because I don't know about you. I felt like this set is kind of low on, relatively speaking, I think it's relatively low on removal. Just from what I've seen in the uncommon and common standpoint.
Well, would that make you more interested in this then?
It definitely.
Removal?
Yeah, and I did take it as a premium because, like I said, with any common, I started a C-, and I give this a C+. So, that's pretty high regard for me.
Higher than normal, yeah.
But I definitely am not putting it into the B category, personally.
No, I obviously am not.
I don't know, and that was my thought process. I was like, well, this is removal.
I just feel like in the last few sets, I've seen better removal spells than this that don't get that high a grade.
Yeah.
So I'm not seeing it.
Yeah. No, I get it. It just seems like everybody starts with black and they're like, "Oh, destroy."
I am too. Listen, I'm a sucker for removal. Good removal spells. Whatever set I get into, I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll check it out. I would honestly rather play this next card or this card a few back, Vanquish the Weak. It's 1 mana cheaper. It's an instant that destroys target creature with power 3 or less. I think that 1 mana cheaper.
1 less pip too.
Yeah, in this world of aggressive, assertive, you got to be on board. Just being 1 mana faster, I think is just so much more valuable than Deadly Derision.
Yep.
So I don't know. Could be wrong, as always.
I personally think we're going to see a lot of Vanquish the Weak, a lot of Deadly Derisions for the first 2.5, 3 weeks.
Fall off.
And then we won't.
That's
we won't see
possible.
it. That's kind of what I think will happen. That's what I've seen as of late.
What do you think of Phyrexian Gargantua?
I actually really like this one here. So this is just like a what's the other Phyrexian that's like
Phyrexian Rager.
Rager? Yes, thank you. Yeah, having Rager. Here we go. This is like when two Ragers meet. They have a Gargantua.
It is, yeah.
So there, let me actually talk about the card here. So this is 4 and 4 black, uncommon. So 4/4 Phyrexian Horror. When Phyrexian Gargantua enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards and you lose 2 life. So
exactly 2 Phyrexian Rangers stapled together. I can't believe they haven't done this yet because this is a reprint. You know, they've made this card several times. I don't think they've ever made one that was like literally 2 different Phyrexian Rangers like stapled together.
Yeah,
that seems like such an obvious joke to make.
It truly, it really does. It truly does. I actually do like this one. I think. Did they? We're looking at Scryfall for
I'm looking
previous
to see if
ones.
they ever made, and I don't think they ever did.
Oh, okay.
This is the art I remember when I first started playing the 9th edition.
9th edition. Wow.
I mean it's originally from Apocalypse, but
sure.
I saw it first in 9th edition.
Sure. Oh, they've kept it uncommon here for the longest time.
Yeah.
Wow. That's still repping. Okay. I actually still like this card. I still think it's on curve and 4/4. You know, it's not nothing.
It's a big body.
Yeah, big booty. Draws 2 cards.
It's very stabilizing.
It is.
Pulls you ahead.
2 lives, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that can be hazardous in certain situations, but it does do a pretty good job of stabilizing the board.
Yeah, of course.
You give it a B-. I
did.
They give it a B. They like it even more. I give it a C. I kind of assume that this card is so old. I just think of that.
How can it work, right?
Yeah, I think of that. What is it? Smiling Friends? Is that the name of the show? Like, dude, you're so old. Go home to your wife. That's what I think about this card. Like,
that's fair.
You're so old. How can this card still be good?
Yeah.
Maybe it is.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just feel like this is going to fall through the cracks eventually.
Sure.
Like, in the same way, like, because recently, I think in Brothers War, we saw Phyrexian Rager, which everyone loves Phyrexian Rager.
Right.
I love Phyrexian Rager.
Oh, sure.
And it kind of sucked ass in
Yeah.
Brothers War.
Well,
so I'm
fair.
just like, maybe, like, I just think we're there to the point where there are better things you can do. Like, this card, I would rather have any of those land cycling commons than this card, I think.
That's fair.
Because you can't do anything with this before turn 6. Whereas if you had the land cycling one, it does a good job at the same stage that Gargantua does. But it's also like an early play that can fix your land. Like, it's just so much better than this, I think.
No, that's fair. What is the swamp cycling one here? We can talk about that one as well. Right next to it. Yeah. So this one is a 5 and a 2 black for a 5/5 nightmare. So it costs 7.
7 mana, 5/5 menace.
Yeah, which is 1 mana more. 5/5, which a 5/5 is also a big booty on there, but it also has menace, which is definitely applicable. And we have not actually talked about this ability either, so this actually has a backup 2 as well. So
back that thing up.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, back that booty up. So backup in general is when this creature enters the battlefield, put X, which whatever that number is. So in this case here is backup 2. So put 2 +1/+1 counters on target creature. It can be itself. It can be another creature that you have on the battlefield. If that's another, and the second part of this, if you choose another creature, it gains the following ability until end of turn. And in this case, it would gain menace for the rest of that turn. So
you get a choice. This is either a 7/7 menace or a 5/5 menace that gives another creature permanently +2/+2 and temporarily menace for the turn.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's doing a lot, and it's got swamp cycling too to boot. So you have early game, you have late game. The late game's pretty damn strong.
Massive.
I'm kind of surprised, and maybe it's because of the mana cost. Maybe, I don't know. This is borderline uncommon.
I think all these are.
I know. This is pretty good.
The whole cycle of land cycling commons, high-end commons, they feel like uncommons.
Yeah.
Amount of text, what they do, the optionality they give you. I just think these are going to be super highly contested. Whatever color you're in, every deck in that color wants these cards.
Yeah.
More than anything, basically. So
that's true.
I gave it a B. They gave it a C+, you gave it a C-.
Yep.
I just think in general, this whole cycle is just crazy good. And you compare this to the Gargantua, I'd much rather have this card, I think.
Right.
Because I can just cycle it on turn 2 to smooth out my land. I definitely
see it.
And Gargantua, we were talking about, the land smoothing. Like, how often in the last set did you have games where you never saw even close to 6 mana?
Oh my god, so many times.
Yeah, so I really like this card, and I think that's what's actually going to hurt Phyrexian Gargantua, is just there's better, smoother things you could be doing at common.
You sold me. you really did.
Hey.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
On to red. Beantown Beatstick.
Hell yeah. That deserves points just for that name. I love that name.
So this is 1 red mana for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0 and has Menace, and it has Equip 2. So what do you think of that card? That's not all the text, but if that was just the card.
I don't mind that.
I don't hate it, yeah.
Menace is just it's evasion in and of itself, right? And then, so I also, you remember in Streets of New Capenna, Sticky Fingers?
Yes, I do.
I love that card. I absolutely love that card. Now, I learned my lesson because I knew they hated it. So, I tempered my expectations with that one.
Smart.
But I actually really like this card here. So, it's cheap. It does stuff, gives evasion. I think it's... And again, in a gummed up board, I think this can make a difference. I think this can give you... It's not going to, blow the doors open or anything like that.
I mean, it could.
It could.
The extra line of text that we haven't read yet is whenever the equipped creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, make a treasure token.
Yeah. So you could get ahead in that regard. So it only costs 1 and equip 2. That's not all that much.
I think it's pretty good. It's funny that you mentioned Sticky Fingers because I believe they said when they talked about it, this is the new Sticky Fingers. I don't know.
Makes sense.
I think, to me, this is a good combination of cheap and threatening. This is going to win some games. You'll play an early creature, you'll play this to follow it up, you're making treasures, you're getting in for damage. Eventually they kill, whatever stupid creature's on. You put on a bigger creature. Now you're pushing more damage. And, unlike Sticky Fingers, this one sticks around, funnily enough.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is going to do some work. And also, I know I'd rather see it cost 2 and then 1 to equip. So the fact that it's flipped, is not that great. But these are both cheap costs. Yeah. I think it's fine.
Kudos to Watsy here. I actually am really liking a lot of these artifacts, or equipment specifically, that have come out here recently. They're not overpowering, or they're not just absolutely just useless. They're just kind of that it's like the parsley on a freshly made lasagna. It's it just takes it just a little bit, gives a little bit more depth.
I love the cooking analogy.
Oh yeah. The parsley equipment. That's what I'm gonna start calling them. Is this a parsley equipment?
Just a little bit on top.
Just a little bit on the top here.
Nice. Alright, next up is Furnace Reigns, the threaten of the set.
Yeah.
2 and a red sorcery, gain control of target creature until end of turn, and tap it gains haste, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or battle, you make a treasure token. So they're kind of, speaking of parsley, it's just a little extra.
Yeah, it's a little on top there.
3 mana threaten is already good.
Sure.
Gives you a little bit of extra on top. I gave it a C+, you gave it a C. They gave it a build around B+. Now, I don't think they're wrong, because there is a pretty substantial sacrifice package, especially in black and red. There's lots of things that let you sacrifice very cheaply and pay you off for it. And so this card, especially, they made it uncommon, so that kind of clues you in on, okay, this is pretty strong, actually, in this set. Right. And I think if you're in the sacrifice deck, this is the most contested card, basically.
Sure.
So I agree with them saying it's a B+, because if you're the deck that wants this is kind of where you got to take it. There's lots more ways to sacrifice things than there are this effect of big payoffs that help you get something back for all those sacrifice effects.
And you may have already mentioned this, I apologize if I'm repeating here, but this also has a text whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player or a battle, create a treasure token. So, kind of recoup some of its costs. Yeah. It's...
I don't, like, anytime they throw that on top of an effect, like, if this were just threaten, already fine. Would already be good in this set.
Yep.
The fact that it's also giving you that extra is just, it's just nice.
It's the parsley text.
Yes, exactly.
It's the parsley text.
Exactly right. That's all my red cards. Did you have any specifically you wanted to talk about?
I really didn't have all that much in red, so I vote we move on to green.
I had a lot of green. Apparently.
Yeah,
Christ.
I get that.
Arachnoid.
Green always seems to be just as an aside while you're pulling cards here. It's like, I think green makes or breaks us. It always seems like we always have that, like, welcome to set review, baby, on like the first green card.
Yeah, that's true.
Like it always seems like that's.
I don't know what to attribute that to.
I don't either.
I don't know. Green's the last color I get to, so it could be like just totally biased on my the judge thing we talked about. Like I haven't had lunch.
Green too.
That's also true.
We both like green.
Yeah, you're right.
So
you're right.
We might have a little affinity for green that LSP doesn't.
You're not wrong. This is the first one is Arachnoid Adaptation. Now you see here, though, I was trying to course correct, because this is one green instant, target creature gets +2/+2 and gains reach until end of turn, untap it. I feel like they always hate this card.
They hate those cards.
Yeah, it's like a pump in green they're already predisposed to dislike, because they're like, green has big creatures, why am I pumping my creatures up? And this one is a particularly kind of anemic boost. So I was just very confident in saying D or F, and they gave it a C to C-. I really don't have anything to say. What do you want from me? They don't like these cards. Why do they like this one? I have no idea.
Yep, I get it.
Could be because, like, in Dominaria United, there was a plethora of, like, good green pump spells, and so maybe they're feeling, like, a little more like, hey, actually, green pump spells are not too bad.
Not so bad now.
I don't know.
It's a mystery to me.
Next up, Blighted Burgeoning.
Yeah. I'll read that one off there.
Yeah, this is a very Seth card.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, Blighted Burgeoning is 2 and a green. It is an enchantment aura. It's common. Enchant land. When this enters the battlefield, incubate 2, which again, that means create an incubator token with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. And pay 2, transform this artifact. It transforms into a 0/0 Phyrexian artifact creature token. It has a +2 +1/+1 counters on it, so it comes in as a 2/2. Whenever enchanted land is tapped for mana, its controller adds an additional 1 mana of any color. Right. So, that's a pretty standard text.
The classic green. 3 mana aura enchanted land gives you an extra mana from that land.
So this one here,
but it has a 2/2 creature attached to it.
It does. It's maybe this isn't a fair comparison after thinking about it, but it's just like a 2/2 for 2 and a green. That kind of reminds me of like that. It's like Pioneer Elf or something like that, where it's a 2/2 for 2 and a green.
Wayfinder.
Civic, yeah.
Civic Elf. It's from Ravnica. Everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Similar.
Yeah.
Ish.
A 2/2 creature that kind of gives you some extra mana.
Yeah, just a little bit there. So it's not this, but kind of in that same vein.
Yeah, totally.
I think it's fine. And I do think this would help you kind of make or break a splash color or something like that. I don't think it's a bad card by any means. I've rated it as a C-, my standard kind of common ranking there. So I'm not saying it's absolutely necessary. I'm not giving it a B, of course, or anything like that, but I think it warrants some play.
I like it too. I gave it a C.
You gave it a C. LR Boys gave this a D or an F.
I think the fact that it gives you that 2/2 creature is huge. The generic spell that this is based off of, the 3 mana aura that makes one of your lands tap for an extra thing, that appears in every set.
It does.
It has some marginal upside. Giving you a 2/2 body is... Or an artifact that you can sacrifice, or, so many things you can do with it.
Yeah.
To me, that's like, that's pretty good upside on a spell that's already kind of marginal. So that put it into, okay, I can see that just being a normal playable card.
Yeah.
And there are good, like, ramp payoffs as well. So all these things, I was like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Like you said, I'm not over the moon. I think it's
sure.
a C. I definitely don't think it's a D or F.
Yeah.
But then again, I feel like I always say that about this kind of aura, and then it's never does anything in the set, and when I play it, I get my butt beat. So, I just need to take my medicine and say, you know what, 3-mana aura that ramps me for 1, not really worth it.
Not doing it anymore.
If this doesn't do it, then what will? Because this is
true.
like one of the better ones we've
true.
seen.
It's true.
God damn it. 4 points?
I got a couple there, too. I like that.
Crystal Carapace. Another aura. Piece of shit. 3 and a green for an enchantment aura. See, this is the kind of aura I'm a sucker for.
I get it.
Enchanted creature gets +3/+3, already in love, and has Ward 2 and Cycling 2. And I think that's the thing that put it over the edge for me. You add Cycling to a card, it makes the card a lot better.
Sure.
So I gave it a C+, you gave it a C-.
Sure.
They gave it a D or an F. Now look, I know you don't have to preach to me about the problems with auras, right? Oh, it opens you up to a 2-for-1. Yeah, all the eggies in one basket. Okay, so here's the thing, though, with this one. It gives it Ward 2,
Sure.
so it makes it harder for your opponent to deal with.
Very inefficient.
Obviously, that's something right off the bat. But also, if you're in a situation where you're like, my opponent has a lot of removal, this isn't a great spell to cast. Cycle.
Yeah, and see, that's the difference right there, because, if you're in a situation where you know that, it's not worth it to get 2-for-1. Everybody knows who's staring at the table. Yeah, it's going to happen. You're going to get 2-for-1. It sucks because without that cycling text, that's just stuck in your hand, right?
Exactly.
So that feels bad.
Exactly.
Now you don't have to. So, might be a land, you might get flooded out, whatever, but at least now you're not hanging on to that card. You have a chance to actually do something and find that hit that you need. So,
or you draw, you're stalled out in a board state. You draw this late, it's like, boom, now my 4/4 is a 7/7. Deal with it, opponent.
Yeah.
And it has Ward 2. It's just, I don't know. I think it seems okay to me.
I think it's fine.
C+ is probably generous. Yeah, C+ is probably generous. But I don't know. I'll play this card.
Oh, sure. At our level, it'll see some play.
It'll see play at every level. I know this is the thing they say about these cards, where they're like, I'll definitely lose to this, but it's not a great card. That's probably where this lands,
Sure.
Someone will cast this on you on their 2/2 flyer, and you'll be like, you'll look at your hand that has no removal, and you'll be like,
crap.
Well, I can't do anything.
Yep.
That doesn't mean it's a good card, necessarily.
Sure.
I think it's a good card. But whatever. All right, what's a card that you want to talk about?
For me, it's another invasion. Invasion of Muraganda. I missed. On this one.
Oh, damn, I missed.
Oh, man. Alright, so this one is 4 and a green, it's uncommon, 6 BP, and when Invasion of Muraganda enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. Then that creature fights up to one target creature you don't control. So, fighting, that's a pretty popular mechanic nowadays where, you choose a creature you control. Well, in this case, is the creature that you put the +1/+1 counter on.
Right.
I like to put it on a death touch creature if at all possible, of course, and then go against their biggest one. So that's always a classic.
In this case, the counter makes you less likely to do that.
Exactly.
You'd like to hold on to the counter.
Yep, exactly. Again, stalled board state, this might give you just that edge that you're looking for there. Or get that really pesky creature that they're just not attacking with, that you're like, if I can just get rid of this thing, then life will be a lot easier. Yeah, right. Of course. So after you get rid of the 6 BP there, it turns into Primordial Plasm, which I love the artwork. It looks like this,
Flubber.
Flubber. Yeah, Flubber. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Turns into a 4/4 ooze at the beginning of at the beginning of combat on your turn. Another target creature gets +2/+2 and loses all abilities until end of turn. So it can become a 6/6. On its own, or it can...
It can't actually do that for itself, because it's another target creature.
Oh, you're right.
But it gives some other creature +2/+2.
Yeah. Which can be used offensively and defensively on that one. like just talking about the death touch creature. If they got like a 1/1 death touch, and you're with a 7/7.
That's true.
Something like that.
That's true.
It loses that ability. I don't think that's going to happen all that much.
No.
I think the purpose of this is to be more offensively.
Definitely. 95% of the time you're just going to be giving a creature you control +2/+2.
Or if they just have one flyer and you have a bunch of flyers.
I didn't realize that was one of the modes.
Yeah.
That's interesting. But yeah, I mean...
Well, I just thought that up, so I didn't think of that either when I graded it.
That's great. But you're right. I mean, you're right that most of the time when you flip this and you start attacking, it's just going to give one of your creatures a +2/+2 bonus until end of turn.
Yeah.
You'll turn your 2/2 into a 4/4, and that'll be great.
Well, I did not rank this one very high.
Why? Is my question.
Why? A, it's expensive. It's got a lot of BP on it, so it's going to be late game. I don't think we're going to get there. I really don't. That's my thing.
Interesting.
It could. It definitely could. But I just think with that many battle points, with that high of mana cost, it's just going to maybe be a little too slow for the format. I don't know. I have that recency bias.
Burned on. Yeah. My thing with this is, the front side is 5 mana, put a 1/1 counter on one of your creatures, kill one of your opponent's creatures.
Sure.
That's a lot of action on the front side of a siege.
It is.
And then also, because you just killed one of their creatures, you've opened the way to get probably a really good attack. And then the creature on the backside is quite good.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think this all comes together to make a really nice package. And especially in green, if you're doing any kind of ramping, and you play this on turn 4, then you're really getting some juice.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I don't know. This is one of my top picks for battles at the common uncommon level.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I really like this one a lot.
I
give it a straight up B.
Yeah, and of course, uncommons I start with the B-, and I knock that thing all the way down to the D or an F, and I wish I had just kept that B- because that's what the LR boys did, was build around B-.
They did. I forget what the build around is that they gave this. I think they gave it this because red-green, there's a battle archetype, taking down battles.
Yeah, there's some cards that deal
creatures that get better when you attack battles or get bonuses when you attack battles.
And that's fair. Yeah, okay, I get it.
I don't know. I just think it's a sick card. I would just play this straight up in any green deck and be very happy about it.
Yeah, it's fun for sure. I'll give it that one.
That's a vote for Flubber.
Yeah, no, I get that.
All right, next up, Timberland Ancient. He's got the Tims. Oh yeah, of course. How can you not like the best boy that there is?
Big beefy boy.
4 green. This is the land cycling guy for green. 4 green for a 6/5 tree folk creature. Has reach and trample. So, look. 6 mana, 6/5 reach trample.
I like those stats.
I'm a sucker for that.
I like those stats.
I would give that a good grade anyway. But, of course, also has forest cycling too.
One. Yep.
What's not to like?
No, I get it. And actually, I gave this a better grade.
You did,
more on the stats than the cycling part, but
you gave it a C. They gave it somewhere between a C+ and a B-. I gave it a B-.
Sure.
I think all these cards are basically in the B range.
That's fair.
I just think they're dope.
The artwork's cool too. I do like it. The artwork actually in general with this set here, I've been really impressed with. So kudos to all the artists here that have been working on it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was gonna skip this card, but it looks like I had bad feelings about it.
Oh,
right, this thing. Okay, so this is another good line of comparison. So this is Copper Host Crusher. 6 green, 8 mana for, very simple, an 8/8 trample hexproof. It's also a Phyrexian Bear Rhino, which is pretty funny, but so I gave it a tier F. You said C+, they gave it a build around B. And the build around for them is the ramp deck.
Of course.
And ramping up to 8 mana. Now, I took a stab at this with the D or F, because 8 mana is a lot of mana.
Yeah.
It's a ton of mana. And they are typically when they talk about creatures that cost 7 or 8 or 9, they're like, it needs to just win the game by itself, basically.
Sure.
Kind of the only thing that justifies that much mana, because you don't know if you're ever going to get that much mana in the game. Right. It just could be in your opening hand. You just never get to cast it. And you wish it was anything else in your deck. And this seems like just a poster child, basically, of like expensive, and it's just a dork. At the end of the day, it's just a dork. I get that it's hard for them to kill.
Yeah.
And it has trample, so it has kind of pseudo evasion. But if you're behind, this doesn't do
that's fair.
enough for you. And maybe it stops some of their attacks, but if you're behind, it doesn't push through damage. I don't know. Me personally, I love a card like this.
Sure.
Like, it sings to me, but I just, based on what they typically say, for 8 mana, it doesn't win the game and it doesn't pull you back from behind. If you're getting attacked by flyers and you play this, I mean, this doesn't really do anything,
Sure. Yeah, I did see those stat lines along with Trample Hexproof, and that kind of sold me on it. Now, again, starting with a B-, I downgrade this to a C+. So I did downgrade just a little bit there because...
I agree, yeah.
While that's a big booty right there.
Yeah, I mean...
You got to pay 8 mana. Good luck getting there.
Yeah,
I mean,
totally.
in a dedicated ramp deck, which is why they said build around B. I totally respect that.
Yeah, if you play this on turn 6...
Sure, that's a different story. That's great.
You're going to feel very good about that.
Of course. Good luck. That's
Sure.
all I got to say.
Sure. I mean, I don't know. I want to believe in this. I just like the big creatures. But again, to make the same comparison I did in Black, I would just rather have Timberland Ancient.
Oh, sure.
Costs 2 less in general, has early forest cycling, and it's just another big, dumb dork.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I just rather have the guy who can get me a land earlier?
I can't argue that. That's
kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. If this guy gained me 5 life, all of a sudden I'm on board. It's like it stabilizes me a little bit.
Sure.
If it had reach, there's lots of things, but I just don't think it does enough on board to justify 8 mana.
Yeah, and that's fair. That's fair. I think I've got one more in green.
Yeah.
Wildwood Escort. So I was just a little far off on this one there. So this one's 4 and a green. When Wildwood, it's a 3/3 elf warrior. When Wildwood Escort, there we go, I'll get it eventually, enters the battlefield, return target creature or battle card from your graveyard to your hand. If Wildwood Escort would die, exile it instead. And I don't know, like for me, this kind of seems expensive. I recognize that you do get a battle card or a creature card back in hand, but for 5 mana, I don't really know if I want to play this.
Yeah,
it seems very expensive for me. And I didn't like green has ramp naturally, right?
Sure.
But I didn't see like too terribly much like ramping going on. There's like treasure tokens here and there. Maybe it is the green-red deck, right? Because we talked about some red cards that gave treasure tokens if they attack a battle or a creature. So this definitely fits in that theme of the red-green battle archetype.
Yeah.
So I definitely see where it fits. I just don't know if I really want to be playing this. So I gave this a D or an F on here. You gave this a C. You were a little bit higher on this one, and then the LR boys gave this one a C+. So, you're both saying it's filler, so it's playable, but it's not like something you're really going after on this
not
one.
thrilling,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. One thing that was really tough for me just in this set here was just like trying to balance the mana cost because, again, recency bias, games are just going so fast.
I see what you're saying.
That I don't think 5 mana for this. You were talking about how 8 mana it needs to win now. I'm kind of thinking nowadays 5 and 6 mana
gotta have a
better
bigger
get you
impact.
damn close.
So I think what if this were this is a stupid question because obviously this would be amazing. Mm-hmm. What if it were a 5/5?
Oh yeah,
everything else is, then you're on board.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It seems to me that the stats are like the thing that's really dragging this down.
Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. You're paying 5 mana for a 3/3 that draws you a good card.
Oh sure,
it draws you a card. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do, like I said, not over the moon about it. I think
Sure.
it's a fine, playable. You play this, it'll trade off with something else. In the meantime, you've drawn a good card. And I'm in love with the idea of redrawing a battle card
Sure.
back to your hand.
Yeah.
Like getting another enters the battlefield effect, another bite at the apple of flipping it over. Like that all sounds pretty cool to me.
That does sound great. It's
But can you do it? Is your question?
I know that's $1 million question, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's interesting. I'm shook. I'm shook. So I don't know. I hope that does see play. I think it is a decent card, but I was just thinking today's limited age.
In this economy?
That's right. Inflation will get you.
I've got one artifact / colorless
Okay.
thing that I want to talk about. If you have more, we can. But it is Flywheel Racer. It is a vehicle.
Yep.
2 mana for an artifact vehicle. It's a 3/2 vigilance. Taps to add 1 mana of any color. You can only do that when it's a creature.
Right.
And it has crew 1.
Sure.
I gave it a C-. You and LR gave it a D or F. And really my only comment is I wish I stuck to my guns about vehicles. Because you know how I feel.
I know, yeah.
Common and uncommon vehicles, they all suck.
Yeah.
They're all garbage. And this one I hedged because every once in a while they like one. And this seems like one that they could like because, you play this on turn 2, on turn 3, you crew it, you hit for 3, you tap it for mana. Oh, well, you're really doing some stuff. I don't like it.
Yeah.
I just don't think I've never seen a common or uncommon vehicle that was worth playing.
Yeah.
To this day. Not that I've never lost to them or taken a beating from them, but they're just always very unimpressive.
Have you ever been high on a vehicle ever since they came out?
There are rare ones that I think are good.
Sure. Okay, that's fair.
Most of the rare vehicles are actually good. They can push the rate up enough.
Yeah.
But the thing is vehicles are just kind of like auras. They're just kind of a fundamentally flawed mechanic because it's like,
I know.
dump all your resources into one basket. It's like, well, you see how that's not a great idea?
Yeah, that's true. True.
In rares, they can get there because they can push the envelope enough where it's like, okay. Mm-hmm. I get so much by putting all my eggs into this basket that it's maybe worth it.
Yeah, that's fair. I was kind of thinking that I'm just not high on vehicles in general, but the rares and mythics. If there's there's a couple of mythics in there.
I mean, in Kamigawa there was. Remember that?
Yeah.
That there was some vehicle where it turned it into a copy of another creature, but it was a bigger version of it at rares. Like that was a really good card, but it's a rare, you know.
Yeah.
And this is like asking you to play a card that doesn't do anything, and then you have to use one of your other creatures to make it do something.
Yeah.
And then you have to hope it can survive combat, because it's a 2 mana, 2 toughness creature. Odds are it's just going to trade for something, and you've tapped out all your creatures for no reason.
Yeah, it does feel bad, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. So you gave it a D or F. I think you're right.
Sure.
I think this card blows my ass.
All right, I do have one artifact here. It's a Skittering Surveyor.
Yeah.
What did I miss on this one here? That's
I can tell you. But
okay,
go ahead and read it.
I'll read it here. So Skittering Surveyor is 3 generic mana. It's a 1/2 artifact creature construct. It's common. When Skittering Surveyor enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and then shuffle. And full disclosure, Nami has been playing some of the open or like pre-release stuff like that. The first time he saw this card, he's like, "Oh my god, they printed Skittering Surveyor." I was like, "What? Like, what am I missing here?" Like, I rated this as a D or an F. I for 3 mana for a 1/2 that'll get you a basic land. I'm like, yeah, okay, but generally, the LR boys don't really like artifacts in general. So I'm like,
no, totally.
Yeah, okay, this is kind of menial, power toughness for the casting cost. Sure, get you a land card, stuff like that, and then, okay, let's just give this a D or an F. Was I wrong on this one here? You were closer on this one here. So for Skittering Surveyor, you had C+ for this one here. The LR boys actually had this as a B-. So They love it. You have a better sense of this card than I do. So what are your thoughts on this one?
So this is, partially just prior knowledge. So this was originally printed in Dominaria, and I know...
Oh, no kidding?
They fucking loved this card.
I don't remember that.
And so did Nami. I assume that's why he had that same reaction.
Yeah.
It's just such a glue card. So we were mentioning earlier Civic Wayfinder. I remember the name of the card.
Civic Wayfinder, that's right.
2 and a green for a 2/2 that searches a land. It's a great card, right?
Sure, yeah.
This is not that far from that.
It's not.
But it's colorless.
It's colorless, that's the trick.
So it does pretty amazing stuff.
Okay.
And it's just amazing glue to tie any old deck together. It helps you get your land drops. It's just like every deck basically wants this. And in the meantime, it's going to be trading off with their crappy little creatures.
Yeah, okay.
It just does a bunch of little things really well.
Okay.
Which is why, and the fact that it is just totally generic. Like, if you have an opening pack with this in it and you don't have any other strong direction, this is such a great card to take. Okay. Because it's just going to be good in whatever deck that you pick.
Okay, that's fair.
So that's why they did it. I'm with you. If I just saw this in general and I had no history with it, I didn't know anything, I also would have said, whatever.
Yeah,
it's a generally crap card.
Okay. No, I stand corrected then. That's perfectly fine.
All right.
Cool.
So the time has come.
Okay.
Once again.
Let's see it. Oh, that's close.
Final score.
Damn.
Seth 275, Kenny 257.
Oh.
Same numbers. Only less than 20 points difference.
That's pretty good. Less than 10% difference on that one.
I think that's the closest one we've had
that
so
has
far.
To be. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
And also just generally pretty low scores.
Yeah, we were,
to be honest,
pretty on board there.
Amazing.
So one thing that I did here was I was actually a little bit more negative in general with it. So I found that I'm a little bit more uber positive.
In general, you overrate the cards compared to
because I get really excited about all the potential that this card could have, and I'm like, start like commons will start at a C minus. Like that's C plus for this. This could be borderline B minus here. So I'll start doing those things.
Sure.
I get way too excited about the potential of the card, not thinking it is just filler or it is just like cool. Yeah, if you can do this one thing when the planets aligned and all this stuff, that's great, but most of the time, that's just not going to happen. So I was overall more, I guess, level-headed about it. And I was not afraid to give D's or F's. That's another thing, too, because the way we grade it is between C minus and the D or F. That's 2 points.
Right.
So I always get a little scared to give it the full D or F treatment for fear that it's like, shit, I'm only 2 points off if I don't do that.
You have to take a stance if you really think it's not that good of a card.
Yeah.
I think another thing that goes into that idea of like it pays off to be a little more conservative on the grades is just in general, cards are better now.
They are, yeah.
Which means that cards that look reasonable from the past, or if you were looking through the lens of 5 to 10 years ago, it's like this is a great limited card. Now it's like, is it that good?
I know.
I don't know. Which is why stuff like Phyrexian Gargantua, is it actually going to be good?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That might be one of those that actually it still has the staying power.
Sure.
I could buy it.
Yeah,
it could still be good. But in general, like I said, Phyrexian Rager, a classic card from the past, not that good.
Yeah, that's true. I get it.
So yeah, I think it's generally a good idea to come down, and like D and F means something different now than it would have 5 years ago when LR was doing these grades, because back then it was literally like, don't play, like this card is actively hurting your deck by being in it.
Right.
Now it means just like, I mean, you could play this card. Yeah. It's not that bad. It's just that there's something that's like a little bit better that stuff you should be doing instead. So yeah, I like the general idea of tempering those grades. Yeah. Well, Seth, thanks for joining me today.
Always a pleasure. Yeah.
And I'll see you in the next set, Lord of the Rings.
Oh, yeah.
I don't even know if that's actually going to be a standard, so.
Yeah, well, we'll find out. All right, until next time.
Yeah.